You know, we had to get the opinion of the U.S. Attorney's Office and a lot of people high up in the FBI to seize that vehicle, because we're concerned that if they thought another set of drug dealers stole it, they can go after them. They can kill somebody over this. This was a lifeline for them. This was a direct source from Mexico, and realistically, you do put people at risk. And so there was a lot of decisions that had to be made, and we had to weigh the risks. But the risk of letting 16 kilos flow free in the streets of Denver wasn't an option for us. We had to take action. So after the phones died completely, the FBI agent, my partner from the North Metro Drug Task Force, and several of us sat down and tried to think of a way to reactivate the phones. And so what we decided to do is we took the license plate off the vehicle, wrapped it on a large rock, and wrote a note in Spanish that informed them if we'd be willing to sell the drugs back to them. And so what we did is we drove by the house, and I threw the rock through the front window of their house with the note attached, and we drove off.
Joe, that's outrageous.
It almost seems like something from a movie, but it's true. It happened. We thought it was a great way to try to get the phones going again, and as luck would have it, it did. The phones went crazy after that.
So tell us what the response was. What happened?
Well, the first person they called is they called Mexico, and we listened to them as they talked to the source. They talked to the big guy in Mexico, so that little bit of action right there allowed us to identify who the big guy was in Mexico.
Nice. What happened next?
So we had to introduce a couple of police officers that were very fluent in Spanish. We had a couple of undercover officers, and we left them a phone number, so they started calling, and we started negotiating. The undercover officers negotiating with the drug dealers on selling them the drugs back. It was not our intent, but it was a way to get the phones moving and to keep the case moving.
And these guys had to have been furious.
They were furious. What we heard them say is how they wanted to kill the undercover officer.
Did they know cops were involved or not?
They had no idea that police officers were involved. They wanted to kill the guy who, quote, stole their drugs. And, the decision was made to meet them at the airport. At the time, it was called Stapleton International Airport. And the thought was that it was our suggestion that we could make sure they didn't have guns. If we met up at the airport, we'd go through screening. And we told them that. We wanted to make sure no guns were involved. And so the plan was to meet them at the airport and conduct the transaction after screening and have it in a suitcase.